But you did win yesterday, so that's that's got to be a load off around the building this morning.
Well, yeah, definitely. To our guys' credit, like they've been working their tails off, and it's very happy to see like some of the hard work paid off because you know what, that Georgia Tech team offensively is probably one of the best offensive teams.
They're not a 55-point team.
No way, no shape. And I think our preparation leading into the game, and then our execution from our guys, during the game was big time.
No secret, your defense has struggled this year. What clicked last night? What made it work better?
You know what? The great thing about it is that we kept them out of transition, but also too, we to be honest with you, Brian, we executed our game plan, man. Like it was like to the T. From everybody, from the last walk-on their bench, we knew exactly what they were going to do, how they were going to do it, and we executed what we were trying to do, and it worked for us.
Funny how it looks better when that happens.
It does. It's just crazy, right? Yeah.
And that said, it's also game 2 of having JJ back. I mean, it puts all the ducks back in a row in a much better order when you have your lead guy back out there.
Yeah, definitely, and especially if you look at the last 4 or 5 games, obviously not having JJ, the last 4 minutes is where we struggled. Yeah. Right? And, we came up with statistics and this, that, and the third. And the one thing that coach said was, it's like, fellas, listen, we can make up whatever we're going to make up. But, like, when it's all said and done, it's one guy that we would have want the ball in his hands in the last 4 minutes.
We can't draw that play.
Yeah, we can't, and he's not a part of our team right now. And at the end of the day, like there was a couple of plays down the stretch where JJ went rogue and he did what he did. It's just put the ball in the hole, and it was one of those situations where, you know what, at this point, like I'm just that better than you, and he made the shot.
Yeah, sometimes you need a guy like that, right?
Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, if you think about it, think about, the 2003 team, not to draw comparisons to JJ and Carmelo or Jerry in that aspect, but like, you need guys, and that's not saying anything different than the guys that we have on our team too, right? It's just, some guys, they just that better.
Well, it's also got to be a thing, too, where, like, the other guys on the team know he's the guy. Like, it's not a secret, right? Like, everybody on the team knows who the guy is.
Right, for sure. And that's the great part about our team because, we still got guys that has the ability to close games, too. Like, you have Eddie, you have Jair, you have Chris, you have Lucas and those guys. But, like, the greatest thing about, last year's team, and I make this comparison, is that going into every game, I always thought that, if it came down to it in the last 4 minutes, last 2 minutes, we always had a shot because we had a guy that was just better than everybody else's guy. Yeah. And that was Judah Mintz, right? And that's the same thing for JJ this year, right? And it's just what it is. And missing him for the amount of games that we missed, it kind of hit us. But you know what? Hopefully we can go and do some stuff, moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, you go back and look at the Georgetown game, the Notre Dame game, the Wake Forest game. It's not like you would have won them.
Right.
But you feel the end would have played out. At least where the ball would have gone differently.
Yeah, no doubt. And it would have gave you a chance, right? And that's all you care for in this climate. It's a chance. And again, like there's no promise that we would have won those games, but you had a chance, and a better chance than what you had.
Yeah, you would have up your win percentage potentially
for sure.
A little bit out there. All right, we got Griff here, first of our weekly visits. No Donnie Freeman last night. What do we know about it, and how different was it to not have Donnie out there last night?
Yeah, it was different. Obviously, I was going to call him Johnny, but Donnie, he gives you a versatility, especially on offense and defense. He can kind of give you an aggression where you can, do some other stuff other than what our ball screen defense is. And, not having him, we had to adjust. And Jair was great. And, Jair is going to be the more we put Jair out there, the more comfortable he's going to be, and and the more we're going to get out of him what he's used to doing, and that's putting the ball in the basket, right? So, we just got to kind of get him going, keep him confident, and hopefully, we can get him doing what he does.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he was the best player at Delaware last year, so everything kind of ran through him. So he got a ton of opportunities. It's just not going to be the case here, but played whatever it was, I think 32 minutes last night in a solid game. Almost had a double-double last night as we got Griff here. So we'll see when Donnie gets back in. Chris Bell hasn't missed any time, right? But he was missing in action there for about a month. Red moves him to the bench. What was that conversation like? Does it make sense there now? How much is that he's got JJ to work off of? What do you think it is that's led to him looking a little bit more like Chris Bell the last week here?
It was a great conversation. Obviously nobody else was in the room other than Coach Autry and Chris, and when they both walked out, we all were there, and we were curious to saying, hey, what happened, and
because that could go another way, right? That could be like, absolutely not.
No doubt. And Chris walked out of there with a smile on his face, and Red walked out of there with a smile on his face, and it was just one of those things where they kind of understood each other, right? So, like, it was just, and this is what it is. Sometimes in certain situations, some guys are, ready for those situations, and some guys are not. And the thing about and what I mean by ready, not to say Chris Bell is a bad player or anything like that, but like, dude, like the start of a game and the pressure of the start of a game, because people take that for granted. Starting a game it's a pressure that a lot of people don't understand. And the one great thing about it is that Coach Autry, he said to our staff in the meeting, he said, hey, listen, man, I think that this will be best for Chris. And I think ultimately, because it'll be best for Chris, it'll be best for our team. And you know what? The last couple of games, even in a loss to Florida State, it was best for our team.
Right.
So it was kudos to Coach, because Coach, because he was the only one that thought of it. Like, we were like, oh man, let's try to run this play, let's try to run that play, let's try to do this.
Let's dial up something that get him an easy shot and get him going.
100%. And he was like, you know what? I think we can help Chris by just bringing him off the bench, let him see, and then it's getting into the other team's second and third best players,
right?
Defensive players, which might help us free Chris up a little bit.
And, he can still play a ton of minutes off the bench. It doesn't always matter the order it happens in. Obviously, it's working. Do you foresee that staying the same, or it's like, okay, now we've got him going again, we can plop him back in the starting five?
You know what? You got to keep what's working. Yeah. Right? And you know what? And it's helped Lucas Taylor, too, right?
Yeah.
Because, Lucas, in the last 3 or 4 games, he's shooting over 50% from three, right? He's made more threes than anybody on our team in that stretch. He's averaging, 10 or plus points. So it's working for our team. So you know what? It might just be the best thing for our team at this particular moment, and we just got to go with it.
Yeah, it's obviously important to have buy-in from the players on that sort of thing. We were just talking, for those not with us on Q Sports Talk, we were talking in the break. Anyone didn't hear, Mick Cronin went off last night after the game for UCLA, and it felt like the words he was saying, which was essentially like, this generation they don't listen, was the gist of it. Felt like, man, that struck a chord with the coaching community.
Yeah, definitely. And I woke up to a text message from Coach Autry with that exact tweet, and the one thing I sent back to Coach was facts, right? and the meaning is that this is no disrespect to the players in this generation, this era. It's they are in a generation where they can come into certain situations thinking one way, like, if I play basketball and if I'm a good basketball player, I'm going to play in the NBA.
Yeah.
Right? And whereas to our generation is that if I don't work hard, if I don't put in everything that I can honestly put into the game, and into my craft, like, I'm not going to be anybody. right? In the game, and it's just that. So like, and I get mixed frustrations because you know what, when he says and I don't want to quote Mick wrong, but when he quotes like delusional players, right? It's just not saying anything bad about them personally, but it's just the normal or how people think and how the kids are thinking now. It's like if I play basketball and I'm a high level basketball player, I'm definitely playing in the NBA. And you know what? No, it's not the case. I was a top 75 player in the country when I was coming out of high school, right? I didn't sniff the NBA.
Right. And you had a good college career.
Yeah, I didn't sniff the NBA, right? Adrian Autry was a McDonald All-American.
First team All-League.
First team All-League. And you know what? He got a cup of coffee and some training camps and stuff like that. But, like, when it comes to, like, playing real live games in the NBA, he didn't sniff it, right? So that's what guys got to really, really, really realize, like, it's really hard to making it at that level. So you got to work twice as hard as what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I think we can see that with like recent players too. Like Cole Swider just got cut right the other day, and he won't.
Cole was in the gym today.
Was he here? Like he won't stop making threes. Right?
No. He was in the gym. He was in the gym today, and the great thing about Cole is this: like, you know what? While he was in the gym, our guys had their off day, so they were getting treatments and stuff. And you know what? Cole went up to Chris and said, "Hey, listen. What about bumping that percentage up to 45%? Because I know you can do it. I believe that you can do it."
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. And he played a similar role, right?
No doubt about it. He went to Lucas Taylor. Hey, Lucas, like, listen, keep believing in yourself. Keep being aggressive. Keep doing what you're doing because you're playing awesome right now. And that's the greatest thing about having alumni that really believe in what you do, what you're doing as a staff, but also to believe in the kids that's doing it.
Yeah, so, and Cole's a guy, I mean, you look at him, he's 6'8", I mean, he can shoot the ever-living crap out of it, and it's just, that's how hard it is to make the NBA right now. Look at what Buddy's doing, look at what Judah's doing.
No doubt. It's crazy, is that, seeing Cole today, he was like 6'10".
Yeah.
Like, he's gotten taller. It's
like, you got a year left?
Yeah, no doubt about it. He made a joke, but he was like, hey, listen, if people can get my NIL up to 250, I'll definitely play.
COVID year? What can we do for you, Cole?
No doubt about it. Yeah.
I'd say the way eligibility works, Griff, you might be able to play next week.
No. Not this guy here.
You don't got 10 minutes left in you?
No, not 10 minutes.
Okay.
No.
Two? Can we get you up a no?
No. Have that, you know what? Have that conversation with Donnie Freeman about my playing career because he thinks that I was a terrible player. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's a little unfair. He's comparing 18-year-old Donnie Freeman to Coach Griff. He's 6'10", too, whatever he is. I hope he'd be able to he'd block your shot back in the day. He's got you by a
He wouldn't block my shot.
Well, you were crafty back in the day, Griff.
I went right up his chest.
Old Big East style.
No doubt.
The kids these days, they don't.
No doubt.
How tough is that, though? I mean, you've seen it. You've played it. You've coached it here, and it's changed a lot. I mean, your career ended, what? Barely 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not that long, but at the same time, it's a long time.
Long time.
Yeah, I'm going to pretend it's not that long because we're about the same age.
I appreciate that.
So we're going to do that. It's not that long. It was this century. That's good. But a lot has changed. How tough is that for you? Like, you came up in coaching one way, you know how to recruit kids one way, and then the last, add in NIL, add in the portal, a ton has changed here in the last 3 or 4 years. Yeah,
and definitely. That's just what it is. Like the times are changing. We as a program, university, we definitely have to change with the times, obviously. But we can't lose the core values of who we are, right? And what we build our programs off of, what we build our, our athletic department after. Mm-hmm. Like there's some standards that has to be met. When it comes to that, especially with the time changes, right? And we have to be really selective in terms of what we bring in and who we bring in, because again, they have to still fit our model as a academic situation, but also
it is still school.
It is school. It is school.
They get paid now, but it's still school.
It is school. It is, and the crazy part about it is, Brian, is this, right? Being a Syracuse graduate, the the diploma means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It does, and I can't speak for the next generation or whatever. But in terms of where we are right now, being a graduate of Syracuse University is still big time.
Yeah.
Right. So we hold that to a higher standard, and but when it comes to what's going on in terms of the athletics deal that's going on and what's happening in athletics, we have to be very, very, very aggressive, but we have standards, right?
Yeah. Last big picture thought on this for now. You brought in Peter Majstorovic. He was the last guy in. So it's a whole different way of coming up, right, with how it's done in Europe. How different do you notice? You've seen him or Rec guys in the past, guys with that background coming into what you're seeing out of the American scene right now.
Yeah, definitely, and it's going to improve more. It's more and more and more. From an international standpoint, like we get calls daily. The four coaches and on top of our general manager Alex Klein, we get conversations. We got an international player coming from Australia next year,
right?
And Luke, right? So like we get those calls all the time, and it's going to be a big part in terms of the future of collegiate sports across the country, and you have to be ready and able to move forward with certain situations and be able to move fast, and in our situations, especially with Peter, being when we heard of him and why. We had to move fast on him, and we were able to, and that's a big shout out to the university, being able to do his academic assessment and understanding where he is academically and saying if he's qualified to be in that Syracuse, because again, Syracuse University is a big deal, man.
Yeah,
being a part of it.
Eastern France to Syracuse credits, it takes a while for them to figure out the equivalency of that stuff.
And it's a big deal from an academic standpoint.
Yep.
And I believe it because you know what? I worked my tail off to get my degree.
You earned that paper, Griffin.
Yeah, no doubt. So, I'm not going to just let anybody just come in and say, okay, I'm going to put myself in a situation where I'm going to earn that. No. You got to earn that thing, right?
I'm glad someone is standing up for the standards of our degree. I'm standing up
for the standards, right? But it's a big deal. But, again, kudos to, John Wildhack and what he's done and what he's doing for our athletic program. Like, he doesn't get a lot of credit because of, where we are and what, in terms of for our program, not any other program in our athletic department, but for our program. He's done tremendous work for us, and he's going to continue to do that. And he has our blessing, and he's always been supportive. So that's a good thing for Adrian and our staff.
All right, last thing, Griffin will do this every week with Griff here on Wednesdays, and he'll pop down to the studio when available. Some of these Wednesdays you got a game, so I doubt you'll be able to come here in person. Maybe you stop by on the way there. I mean, you do you. I'm
gonna try to work as much. The great thing is that if we play on a Wednesday. On my way home from shoot around, I can stop in, pop in, do the deal, and then do what I got to do at night.
Okay, hey, we're not going to turn that down. That's a great offer. I accept. All right, what's BC Saturday? What are they bringing this year?
You know what? I said it today on Gomez's show earlier this morning, and I said, hey, listen, man, it's a rival game. Not people in the true fans understand the rivalry between BC and Syracuse because we've played them forever, right? The Big East days and now in the ACC days, and it's one of those games that regardless of what teams you put out there on either side, it's a game where you got to put your hard hat on and you got to be ready for a war, and it's no different this year. They got really good inside players that's going to present a threat for us, and then they got really good guards, and it's almost like a mirror image, and especially in terms of inside, I think we do have an advantage. I think we have one of the best players, not just in our ACC league, but in the country, in J.J. Starlin, and I just think that he could be the difference.
All right, we'll see Saturday at 3. You guys got Louisville coming on Tuesday, and we'll talk to Griff again next Wednesday. All right, Griff, good to see you.
All right, thank you.
There he is, our guy, Alan Griffin. We'll take a break. Phone lines open after this, 315-437-7644. And this hour brought to you by William Mattar. Back next, Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.